I mean, I've seen him a million times since then, but that was the first time I met him.
Yeah.
And he got me so wasted.
I love it. I love it.
But in the most wholesome way, you know, nothing creepy.
So, like,
They basically were like, hey, we regret letting you go.
Wow.
We'll push you through. I turned it down because I was like, you guys, it was crazy. They tried to really pin us against one another and they were sticking cameras in our faces. Like they made us sing the same song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got a lot of work from being on Idol on a Disney show. I got picked up by a creator of a cartoon called Phineas and Ferb.
Nice.
Yes, it was a very bold move. And like one of the songs I have on that record, I'm saying I'm a pinche gringa. So like,
awesome.
you know, I like literally had a billboard
That's
in
awesome.
LA that said like, soy la pinche gringa.
That's awesome.
Welcome to another episode of 90who10. I'm Jessica Entner.
And I'm Dan Eisenstein.
And today we have a very special guest because she's my friend. I'm so excited. And there may or may not be a connection to David Faustino. We're not quite sure. However, we have vocal artist, mom, American Idol contestant, and her alter ego, Monogem. This is Jen Hirsh.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
I have to tell you one thing. I love your music. And I did not know that's what you did when we first met. And I'm just going to out her for a second. I had her work on some stuff for my work. She did a couple covers. I'm not kidding. They're the best ones I've heard that have come in
stop.
yet. I am not even being mean to the other people.
That's
I'm
awesome.
just being like so fucking good. She did a cover of I Only Have Eyes for You.
Yeah.
And half of it's in Spanish.
Oh,
and
wow.
like goosebumps.
That's
so
awesome. How did you guys meet?
Funnily enough.
Yeah.
Another David.
We used to get together a lot more when we
Before
used to live,
kids.
before kids. And we used to live on the West Side. So we were just kind of like part of the crew. Like I would always see Jess and
And we always migrated towards each other.
Yeah.
You know, it was like,
probably
oh.
the joint in my hand.
Well, I wasn't smoking pot then. Now I am. But anyway, but also just like music. And I didn't know that she was an artist until, I don't know, a year into like hanging out with her. And she had a single called Get You High, which is so fucking good. You have a really sexy voice.
Oh, thanks.
You know, you do. You got a thing. And we were looking at some of your music videos
I
as
loved
well.
your videos. I was checking them out. They're
thanks.
awesome on YouTube. Yeah.
So I kind of want to start there. Like what does monogem mean? Where did that come from?
Well, a monogem ring is actually a supernova remnant. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So it's like, it's
Awesome.
actually like a scientific term. What year was it? 2013, maybe? I was like rebranding, kind of looking for a new voice, a new avenue, a new outlet, right? I was coming off of, which I'm sure we'll talk about, I was coming off of American Idol and everybody kind of knew me as Jen Hirsh. So I wanted to like create a moniker. And, you know, that process is kind of like silly when you're like looking up things.
Right,
you know, we were
right.
playing on the words like mono and stereo. We wanted it to have some sort of musical.
You're known your whole life as Jen Hirsh.
Right.
You go on American Idol, you're Jen Hirsh. And now you're like, I'm going to go in this other direction. I think it's brave.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, brave and also maybe like stupid to like split everything up. But it's funny now in my older age. And, you know, I'm like, oh, maybe I should do like a Jen Hirsh. No, identity crisis. As artists are.
You know, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
But you've been very lucky because you have been able to follow your heart and be a musician and an artist and make music
Yes.
as a living, which is, as we know, is really rare, especially in Los Angeles. I'm seeing that now, just working more with songwriters. It's an uphill battle, and you really have to persevere through some shit to get to the other side.
It's real.
But you did also grow up here, and I have to say, because it is funny, we have a lot of people that have grown up here that come on the show. And we're a bit snobby because it's like, well, we grew up in LA proper and you grew up like just adjacent. I joke because anytime
I know, I'm not a city kid.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Agora Hills. All my friends who grew up in the city were like the cooler kids.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Like growing up in the suburbs and then moving into the city and being like, oh no, this is different.
Well, it's funny. I've seen like both sides of the coin now because now I live back in the valley, literally down the street from my high school. I had an amazing childhood and upbringing. I'm so lucky that I, got to have the Santa Monica Mountains like right outside my door as a child and like riding my bike down the street. And I had that kind of childhood, but it was so great that we were so close to the city and the culture and the restaurants. And, the, we could go to concerts and go see shows. And, my parents were always into the arts. So I feel like I got a really well-rounded, privileged upbringing.
Were your parents in the business at all?
Not in entertainment. My dad's in like clothing manufacturing and
the schmata business.
Yeah, in the schmata business. That is what it's called. And now more recently in the event space, they have some property, a winery actually in Malibu. So they do like
weddings and things like that. That's really cool.
But in their 70s, it's kind of tough to make that career shift into like hospitality. Yeah. Because the schmata business is not what it used to be.
Not at all.
So.
No. We obviously, a lot of kids that we went to high school with, parents were in that business.
My grandfather was in that business.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think everybody who's of some sort of Jewish descent has schmata business in there.
Yeah.
Getting to, you also have an interesting background because you are Latin and what country? I forget.
Mexican.
Yeah. You're a Mexican Jew.
Yeah, I'm a Mexican Jew.
There's a lot.
Four of us.
There's a lot of Mexican Jews.
There's a lot of Mexican Jews. There's a lot of Mexican Jews in Beverly Hills.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And a huge Jewish population in Mexico City, too, that I've found out.
Look at me not knowing these things.
A lot of us.
Yeah. So
but my mom is Mexican and, never converted. So I'm really not like a real Jew. But, she's Catholic, Mexican, grew up in East LA.
Yeah.
I'm like fourth generation Californian. So I'm like deep LA.
I'm third generation on my mom.
Okay.
Well, no, Californian, sorry, second generation.
Wait, no, I'm third generation. And then my dad, his family's from like Russia originally.
Yeah.
We're like he's a Russian Jew.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
How's the food? How was the food at your house?
It was great.
I was gonna say.
It was great. Yeah. I mean, we had all of it, My mom's mom, my abuelita, she like lived with us for a while.
Oh boy, the food was good.
Oh yeah. The food was amazing.
She's making like homemade.
She was like that. Yeah, she was that one who was just like, you're not eating enough.
Dad was making bagel lox in the morning. And then from there, grandma had it. Abuelita had it all.
I'm sure there was a contingency of like interesting families that you grew up with out there.
Oh, I mean, Viewpoint is a crazy place.
Yeah.
It's a crazy place. Like two of my best friends are like I grew up with my friend Sarah Panko is Jimmy Panko's daughter. He's like one of the founding members of Chicago.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The trombone player.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that
Saturday
was always fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was always fun, going to those shows and
that must have been awesome.
And like another girlfriend in our friend group is Paloma Estevez. So
okay, yeah, sure.
Awesome.
She'd come over for like play dates and my dad would be like, whoa, like Amelia would come pick her up.
What was that like? The audition experience.
What made you do it too? Because that's a big I'm gonna go and I know I can get on this show. Like what?
I was reluctant. It was coming from. I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, so I have
before American Idol.
Yeah.
So
and I'm assuming at Viewpoint you were in choir and singing.
Yeah, they had like a vocal jazz program that was pretty like influential for me. Like I became very, very interested in jazz music from Viewpoint. Actually. Okay. That's funny enough, the accompanist for our vocal jazz group, Bill Brendel, he's now the chair of the, whatever. I don't know if he's the chair. He's like the head of the vocal high school department. And we've been in touch. I actually just went and performed at my high school, which was really cool. Awesome. And I'm like, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I would have ever gone to Berklee or really pursued this. So it was like a full circle moment. But people at Berklee, when you're coming off of 4 years of really studying music, it's like kind of frowned upon to go just like throw it all away on a reality show.
I can see that. But I mean, as you've had the biggest one that comes to mind is Carrie Underwood. But as you've had these people who've had such huge breakout success, I don't think it's just another avenue. And especially now that the record companies and the record business have changed the way it is. It's no longer what it was where you have to go to clubs and stuff. I think it's not what it was.
No, it's not. I felt very differently about it then than I do now.
Right. If you came out of Berklee now, I think people will be like, yeah, do that. Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like it took me a while to even be comfortable sharing that I was like, hence Monogem and all that. Like I wanted to get away from that. Now I'm like, what do you want to hear?
So what did make you kind of change your mind to go audition. And I'm going to just quickly interject. You don't know this about me, but I did audition twice.
Did you?
No, you didn't.
I did.
What did you sing?
I did. Oh, a Sia song.
No.
She's got an amazing voice.
I don't.
She really does.
Okay,
but she really does. She really does.
You know what's so funny is that Jay, my husband, wanted to try out for her. And I'm pretty sure he waited in line and like left. He still hasn't. It's a little gray area. My husband tried out for American Idol or wanted to.
Yeah.
And he can sing too.
I can see. I was literally the old, like, it was like the last year. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to do it.
Oh.
And I drove to Las Vegas and I met this girl who we became friends. And like, it was super awesome. I was like ready to camp outside. None of that happened.
Right,
it's like they make it look way more intense.
I want to hear about her.
So like I'm trying to think where my first auditions were. I think they were in Boston. I think I was still living in Boston and I was like fresh out of Berklee. And I went on scat singing.
Oh, awesome.
And they were
That's
like,
cool.
What? I think it would be cooler now.
Yeah.
But I had this like rendition of Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead that I used to sing this Tierney Sutton arrangement of that song. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's like she's a jazz singer and also a teacher at USC. I was like a big fan of hers. So I like would sing her arrangement all through school. I sang it at like a Berklee showcase and whatever. So that was my thing because it's such a great a cappella moment. And I made it to Hollywood Week and I like moved to LA and I moved back home. I was doing like, 5 days a week vocal lessons and was just like getting really prepared for like my life to change. And then I got like sent home in Hollywood Week. I don't remember the reasoning. Simon was still a judge and like it was a random year. Like I think Cara Diaguardi and Ellen DeGeneres. It was like that random year.
Right.
So then I got kicked off and then, I was like in between New York and LA. I was moving from Boston to New York, making that transition. And then they actually invited me back.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of like...
It's like a little secret.
It was a little fishy, yeah.
That's kind of a secret though. Like
they basically were like, hey, we regret letting you go.
Wow.
We'll push you through to
that's awesome.
this round if you come do another audition. I turned it down because I was like, no, fuck you guys. I don't need you.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep touring out of my Jetta. And then after another year of that, I like emailed them the third year. And then I was like, hey, does that offer still stand? And they were like, yes, but you have to come to Texas because you missed all of our other dates. So that, and then I was newly dating Jay.
By the way, that's cool too. Like I see a pattern of like bravery. You know what I mean?
That's
Honestly,
nice.
because it's like it takes guts to say
cojones.
Yeah, cojones.
It takes some cojones.
It does to be like to email them and be like, you know what? Okay, I will. And a little bit of humility too.
Yeah.
So that was when I had like my I did it 3 times. And then the third time, I made it to the top 16, I think it was. It was great. It was a wild ride. I have no regrets. Like I met a lot of amazing people, people who I'm still friendly with today.
Did anyone come out of that season?
Philip Phillips.
Okay, I remember him. Yeah.
Okay.
He's still, I like heard him on Sirius XM the other day.
That's awesome.
It was really, it was exciting. I had some really great moments that I'm glad are like documented on the internet, I guess now.
Yeah.
I have like a standing ovation from like Steven Tyler, Randy Jackson,
That's awesome.
J-Lo. J-Lo was a little reluctant. She didn't like me very much. But
competition. She saw future competition.
She just like favored the men, I feel like.
Yeah.
But she was cool. Like she smelled so good. I remember like always like hugging her.
It's so funny that
like they would come in, like as the group got smaller, we would like get time with the judges, So like I remember hugging her and being like, wow.
Well,
you smell like
what do you smell like?
Wonderful.
I have a great J-Lo story when we're coming to about how she smelled, but it's fine.
Wait.
I need to hear it now.
You can't.
Okay, so this is when she first started out as an actress. As an actress.
When she was like Out of Sight or whatever. I love that movie. It's a great movie.
So, my sister had a very successful career as a casting director. Do you know about that?
I don't know.
She worked
I know that.
in casting for a long time and ended up going into teaching later. But my sister, so J-Lo was up for this movie and they really wanted her. But whatever perfume she was wearing was very strong.
Oh no.
And the director was having almost like an allergic reaction to it.
Oh.
And my sister had to actually call her agent and be like, look, we really like her. They really like her. But whatever perfume she's wearing, she's wearing too much of it. And it's just...
like everyone got a migraine.
Yeah.
That is really funny.
My sister actually had to make that phone call.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
she probably takes extra care now on how she smells.
Maybe that's
right?
it. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But what's even funnier is like, can you imagine if it wasn't like, hey, she smells like too good? It's like, hey, so you think
it
you can...
was just too
well,
strong.
that was the beginning of her career. She really got it. She got it down now. You know?
Yeah. Now she's fine-tuned her scent levels. That is hilarious. What did she smell like? Like tangerines and cotton candy?
Oh, I don't know. It was just like
florals.
Expensive. She smelled rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Expensive.
Yeah.
Well, after
I was just like, I want to smell like that.
She made money. She's like, listen, I don't want to get any more calls like that.
Yeah.
Back then, she was wearing Victoria's Secret, like honeysuckle.
Yeah, for sure. That like spray bottle.
Something really cheap.
Juniper breeze. That was my scent.
Melon for the summertime when you were going subtle. And you always made sure to spray in all the spots. Anyway, moving on. So American Idol, back to that. What were the days like? Were they like grueling? Were you in the studio all the time? It looks like intense.
Like people were like dropping like flies. I mean, but some of these kids, I mean, literally kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my 20s, but there were 16-year-olds on the show. So that was interesting, kind of like competing against like children. So they had some of these kids had never been on a plane. Right.
Wow.
Like it was like that.
Yeah.
So you had like the trained musician, who was used to hours and hours of rehearsal and working on group, singing with other people. Like that was the group Hollywood group week, I guess. That was the most grueling, I'd say. Like you pick your groups and you have to sing in, 5-6 part harmony and like work out this whole thing. And our group was amazing. I mean, it was like, we were so lame. We called ourselves Groove Sauce.
I kind of like that, actually.
I think you should go back to that.
But like, it was a great performance. And like, we really had like, so for those moments on the show, like these great moments that were totally live and just in the moment, like for that, I'm so grateful because those are on, they live forever.
Celluloid, as they used to say.
Yeah, right. But there's still the live TV aspect, the reality aspect. Like, I'm a privileged girl from the Santa Monica Mountains. Like it's like America doesn't want to like grab
Kelly
onto
Clarksons are what they're
like I'll never forget. I read, they always tell you, especially back then when the internet was just kind of getting going on Twitter and things, like they would tell us like, don't read the comments, don't go to the forums and read about what they're saying. There's weird, creepy fans out there.
Weird, creepy people.
And so like my family has a winery and I was working in their tasting room at the time. And I remember they put on my, little caption, like winery worker. And they were like, oh, if only her family had a brewery. Like,
oh my God.
Man. I went and I read the comments. But like,
funny.
it's, I learned a lot about live television and just like how that kind of works, how important your story is, which I feel like taught me a lot, like moving forward and creating this whole new identity, really, this new project. Yeah, I actually got a lot of work from being on Idol on a Disney show. I like got picked up by a creator of a cartoon called Phineas and Ferb.
Nice.
Yes. They were huge fans and I got to sing on the show for like a few years. So that was like amazing. I got to join SAG. Like it was like great work coming right off of that show, like things like that. But there were other things since I got cut before the top 10, like you couldn't market yourself as seen on American. That was like part of the
deal.
Yeah. So like, but at that point in my career, I was just like, whatever, I don't want the name associated with me anyways. And I was, it was embarrassing. And it was like,
I don't tell a lot of people
not to be on it, but to get kicked off, it was just sort of like, oh, well, that sucked.
Right.
Right.
But there's so much at play. So many little, it's crazy. It's not about, I mean, and how can you even have a competition about who's the best singer?
Totally.
I mean, there is no such thing.
It's crazy.
Right.
It comes down to so many other factors.
Like you said, your story or this or that. And then you might have other people who, just because of the way they portray them, the story becomes more compelling or whatever.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what the edit can do.
Of course.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. I mean, they could have, they really painted a nice picture of me, and I was happy with, how I was
But you
portrayed.
also you are a nice person and you are a good person. So that's, I can't imagine.
They can portray people however they want.
I'm sure
But they really, because we watched it, you could see their whole package, how they would.
Good thing I didn't
And
get
they
on.
have to, and the funny thing is, they have to create some kind of tension or drama, or otherwise
it's reality TV.
Yeah.
Like that's what
I should not go on a reality show ever. I would immediately be chopped up and edited into some heinous version of myself.
Stop.
Yeah, like either the bumbling idiot or the cunty cunt. Excuse me. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding at all. Anyway.
I think it's like 2 years after you get kicked off the show, you cannot like market. You can't like make money off of it
or say.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just used the C word, but that's okay.
I was shocked.
We know that I go straight.
I'm trying to normalize cunt. I love
the Brits normalized it a long time ago, and I say it very freely all the time. However, I forget that it's shocking to most Americans. So I apologize.
We used it a lot in our home. You didn't offend me.
It's a good word.
I try never to use it.
You shouldn't. You're a man.
But there's a scene from The Sopranos where Polly looks at Christopher and says, "Don't get cunty." And my girlfriend thinks it's the funniest thing ever.
So that is literally what people say to you in England. Like, don't be so cunty. It's like, and because it's so shocking, I think it actually has a better tonality to it than bitchy.
That's kind of our running.
For sure.
That's kind of our running joke.
But do not call a woman that.
No,
way.
never. But that's our running joke. She'll say it to me. Don't get cunty.
It's good. I used to have that on my phone. It used to say cunty. Anyway,
we digress.
I love swear words. But okay, talent-wise, was it difficult for you to maybe be on a show where you're just like, I get what they're doing, but like, God damn, I just know that I can do like, this is,
There were times, but honestly, once they got kind of past the riffraff of the show and like the
Sanjayas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There were a ton of talented people on it. Again, it was hard to like compete with the 16-year-old at time, and I was like one of the older contestants with this other girl, and like, it was crazy. They tried to really pin us against one another, and they were sticking cameras in our faces. Like they made us sing the same song.
Yeah.
Like it was
right.
They just were
creating a competition.
Drama,
And once that happened, I was just like, fuck this. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to go home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of knew it wasn't gonna happen.
So is that kind of when you invented Monogem?
Yeah, like right after that. I mean, I was in a phase, I was in my 20s. I was like out dancing. I was like at all the raves and whatever. So I was like, I want to make dance music. And, that's the birth of Monogem. My good friend, Scott Smith, who's like an amazing Grammy-winning mixer and composer now. He got out of the artist production side of Smart Man. He helped me, we've just started writing music together, and we made this first EP, and, in like the Hype Machine days and like all of that. Like I felt like
before Discord.
Right. Yeah. Just created our own like buzz in LA, and it's been a really fun project to be behind and to like kind of watch the evolution of, and it's just changing all the time now as I'm changing. And, I'm really grateful to, like you said, be making music for a living.
And
as hard as it is.
It is hard. And it is quite a feet to be able to do that. And with songwriting, were you always writing your own music? Were you always writing your own songs? Or was that kind of...
It started with the beginning of Monogem.
Oh.
Like when I was doing kind of like the Jen Hirsh jazzy soul stuff, obviously I was singing a lot of standards and kind of covers. I was sort of, and I had some originals, and then I worked with another good friend of mine. His name's Adam Tressler, and he wrote this record basically for me, like through my eyes. I was like, transitioning from New York to LA, and I was going through a breakup, and he just wrote the most beautiful singer-songwriter songs, like just awesome. Gorgeous. We were like doing the Hotel Cafe thing.
I think I went to see you.
Hotel Cafe is like the place if you're kind of starting out and breaking out.
And well, here's what's funny, just to because it's not just because Genghis Cohen was really bad.
Genghis Cohen was.
That is pretty much the only place I ever played.
I saw Evan and Jaron there. Like,
oh my God.
They were busking on the Santa Monica Promenade. And then I went to see them there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Genghis Cohen was like that. But I feel like Hotel Cafe was just an extra level because the people that they booked was more like Largo.
Right.
It was like Chris Stills would play there, Stephen Stills. We just had an artist, Rosa Lynn, play there. But like they're big. They're like big artists, but they're still kind of under the radar. KCRW style artists. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's a great venue.
Played a record release party there for that album. And little did I know, John Mayer played a secret set right after me. And I was literally at the diner across the street, shoving my face with French fries and had no idea that he was playing.
Oh, that's
so all my friends were like, "Where are you? Where'd you go?" I was like, "I went to get food."
That's crazy.
So I came back like for his last few songs. I rushed out, rushed back and actually got to meet him. And he was like, "Oh, you're Jen Hirsh." He's like, "You're who I'm seeing on all the little, I had all my flyers."
That's cute. I like that.
But I remember I told him, I was like, "Yeah, I'm like starting a dance project and starting a moniker." And he goes, "Aren't we all?" I thought that was like so funny. He went to Berklee too.
Oh,
so yeah, so I remember being like, I went to Berklee. I was a big fan. I am a big fan.
How could you not be a fan?
Come on.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I remember seeing him at the Troubadour and he did make the worst faces. He makes the worst faces.
But he's an amazing guitar player.
He's an amazing guitar player and he's funny.
Yeah, he's really funny.
Pretty amazing human being.
No, I've heard, I follow him on Instagram. He's hilarious. I'm like, and where were you when I was dating everybody in the because he did date everybody apparently, like everybody. I'm like, Jesus, that would have been easy. I just never ran into him. No,
I missed my chance.
But like Berklee, for those that don't know, Berklee's like the NYU, the Juilliard of like musicianships. Like Juilliard, I think, is
it's more contemporary.
It's more music. Yeah, contemporary.
Juilliard is a little bit more classical, but Berklee, their whole slogan, at least when I went there, was like nothing conservatory about it.
Right.
So they were the jazz, the improvisation school.
I mean, it's all your great musicians come out of there. I mean,
most of the composers that I've worked with have all been Berklee graduates, or
that's
at least started.
Mm-hmm.
They went and then they got a job and they were making money doing something. So
right.
So they're like, wait a second.
It's amazing.
A lot of people don't finish. I'm one of the very few.
The place.
And it's not easy to get in.
No.
At all. So, I mean, that alone. So you weren't writing music up until more recently.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't really like a songwriter when I went there. I was like the jazz nerd. I was like transposing horn solos. You know what I mean? Like I was studying How High the Moon. That was my song, the Ella Fitzgerald.
Do you play as well?
I play a little bit of piano, but like not. I can like read down a lead sheet, but no. I really don't sight read very well.
Okay.
Like I'm not skilled in music theory that way. Like I have a very strong ear.
Yeah.
But like,
did you write "Get You High"?
I did.
That song
with a friend,
right?
Yeah.
But yes.
Everything I've put out as Monogem, I've written.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first Monogem song I ever wrote was a song called "Wait and See," which got like a ton of really great syncs.
Yeah.
It was kind of like our first. I did a remix with this Italian producer, and like it's still one of my most popular songs on Spotify.
Awesome.
And I'm like, this is so like irrelevant, like what is? But it's just
you don't know what people's ears go.
You never know what
really
somebody's gonna like.
Yeah,
never know. True. I have a song from 2017 called "Wild," and it's like a total hit in China. Like
crazy.
It's like you just have no idea.
Like I'm big in Estonia.
You know what's funny is Rick Rubin. He talks about how you never can write or cater or produce to what somebody thinks. Just do what you like and do what you love. And then if it speaks to people, it does.
And it usually, when it's authentic, it usually does.
Yeah.
And you made a really brave, I'm going to go on that theme, brave decision to your last EP, your last album, to sing in Spanish. And it's a totally different sounding Monogem.
Totally different.
But magia is like...
Magia.
Magia, thanks. Yeah,
you're saying it the Portuguese way. No, that's the Portuguese way.
Did you grow up speaking Spanish?
I did, yeah. But, I wouldn't say I'm 100% fluent.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm like 75%. I grew up speaking Spanglish. So it was a very bold move. And like one of the songs I have on that record, I'm saying I'm a pinche gringa. So like,
awesome.
You know, I like literally had a billboard in LA that said like, soy la pinche gringa.
That's awesome.
So like, I'm owning it. Which I think was the best part of that whole release campaign was just how like, you know, I've never really felt like I was Mexican enough to like sing in Spanish or do that. Or, you know, it always felt like I was an outsider. Like my accent wasn't good enough, or, you know, you're not a real Mexican. Or like,
now I'm seeing more of the J-Lo maybe headbutting. Yeah.
So yeah, it just like, I don't know. Now I'm literally writing, like all my music is like bilingual. Like it's crazy because I had such a, you know, successful run with that album.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I felt like I got just like a different type of street cred, you know?
It feels not only brave, but free. Like I'm just going to be free. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I just liked this way my voice sounded better, like speaking in Spanish, just different character.
And how long ago was this album?
I released it in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not that long ago.
But the first few singles, like I wrote in 2019. So it was like a couple years.
Yeah.
That's a COVID project.
Yeah.
I love it.
That whole album was through COVID and finished it while I was pregnant. Like it was such a trip, you know?
And you're a mom now. So you had your little one.
In 2021.
In 2021. So COVID baby. There's a lot of those.
A lot of them. I mean, my life, like, honestly, before COVID, I was like planning to go on tour in China, which obviously will never happen now.
Right.
Or not for a while. But, you know, COVID, just like I was supposed to go to China and Mexico. I had all this stuff in Spanish kind of bubbling. And then I had that song, which is still, you know, a total hit in China.
Right.
Which is amazing. You know, we have a friend that we went to high school with who's like a huge rock star in China.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody here knows who he is.
Johnny Blue.
Yeah, Johnny Blue.
I mean, I would like, I'm still trying to like, you know, I've got a label partner out there for that, just the one song. And like, you know, I've been talking to agents, like trying to get, I'm like, I'll go out there. I'll sing 10 different versions of the song. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of want to see like what.
You're not done.
How does it?
You're like,
how does it translate into the live space? Is there room for that? You know, I would love to go and do that over there. But yeah, I mean, that was what 2020. Those were my plans, and then they obviously, you know, the year had different plans.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I you know, moved to the suburbs and had a baby.
And I want to talk about, but I mean, Latin music is so big now.
It's so hot. Right
I mean, like even something like Coachella. You know, if not half, you know, a good portion of the acts are Latin based.
I think it is like almost 50%.
Crazy. I mean, it's got a huge following. It's amazing.
It's really cool. And it, you know, coming from like electro pop and just like this like harsh pop world,
right?
Like being welcomed into the Latin community was just like so comforting and just felt so right at the time, you know, for me to get, you know, and I know a lot of native speakers, they would hear my songs and be like, she's not, you know, like they knew the second they heard me singing that I wasn't like a real native speaker.
I mean, but hold on, you are, you are, but it's just, you grew up here.
Sure.
And so wasn't, you know, I don't know. It's not your first language.
Of course.
But it's,
there's so many people like that here, or grew up in mixed homes and whatever. And like, it was so cool for me.
Your accents are different.
Yeah. It was so cool for me to get, you know, fans reaching out and they're like, I'm half this and that. And then I feel this so hard. And
that's great.
It just was like, this record, this is for you. Like, that's why I made it.
Awesome.
You know, that was like, you know, the best part of making that album.
You've kind of been quiet for a little bit. So what's going on? I'm like, what's going on?
She had a baby.
I know, but I have to tell you, Dan, like anyone watching, just check out Monogem on Spotify or whatever DSP you like to use, because you won't be disappointed.
Oh,
but
thanks.
what's
I have been quiet. It's been a tough, you know, couple years just like transitioning back. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's been.
How's that balance? The work life.
It's hard. It's hard, you know, like everything's different now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm really trying to figure out what my priorities are. And like, you know, I can't really go and like tour the way I used to, or, I'm just like kind of not willing to put up with what I used to.
Yep.
Right.
Priority shift.
Yeah.
Age,
It's
wisdom,
it's all priorities. Yeah. But yes, I have, found a new, wave of inspiration, which has been exciting. I've been working on a ton of new music. And I actually just got out of a super binding distribution deal that I'm so happy to be out of. That really was the truth, to be honest. Just kind of held me back. And so I'm like I'm free as a bird now. I'm like ready to start uploading music and going independent the way I've always been. I've always been 100% independent, never taken anybody's money. So I'm like ready to kind of go back to that and get my power back and just keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
And something else you mentioned is that you also do some vocal coaching, right?
Yeah, a little less now since the pandemic, but well
since
into
the pandemic.
Yeah.
So is that something that kind of popped up during the pandemic?
It was before too. Yeah. I had like this crazy LA business, like teaching a lot of like celebrity kids, mainly like children of celebrities who I can't really talk about, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like just, I would put on these live shows for these kids and give them like a full live band experience, which was amazing.
Where they're performing and doing live shows.
Yeah. That was kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And I was living on the West Side. So I was teaching in home, I was going to people's houses, but like the idea of doing that now as a mom, it's like, it feels almost like babysitting,
Right.
It depends on how old the kid is, but like, I just like my heart wasn't in it. Like I love to help like my older, like high school, college students who I still, they reach out for support. Like they're writing and releasing their own records. And, I've helped teach them how to like release independently. And for that's like awesome.
That's like a class in itself, aside from the vocal coach, just how to kind of navigate that whole.
Yeah.
And it's so great to know how to do that on your own.
It's different too. I mean, like when you started, when I started, it was so analog.
Yeah.
Like you could not put music out. You couldn't make music. Now you can. No, like there was just not a channel in the same way there is now. So now these kids.
But you could probably go back to Berklee and teach something like that.
I know, but I'm like, I don't want to live in Boston.
Yeah, that's true. Zoom.
Maybe.
Kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's like teaching, I still feel like I've got, some years left in me to kind of keep going after my own thing, I really don't believe like those who teach can't do, I do believe all of it can kind of go hand in hand. It feels nice to kind of help support and develop young artists. I don't know. I just sort of, with my time now being so valuable and limited with a child, it's like, I have to really delegate like how I want to spend my time. Yeah. So who knows? I mean, it's funny. My alma mater, my high school, they've been kind of like poaching me pretty hard to come, and I couldn't live closer to my high school. So I'm like, so I've been thinking about it. And Viewpoint made me like so smart, and I'm the one who went to music school.
That's awesome.
Like I could have gone to Stanford.
They all thought like Berklee up north. I'm like, no, it's the EE version.
Listen, till I knew, when I was like, teenager, the first time I heard Berklee School of Music. Oh, you mean like Oakland?
Right. Yeah.
Right. You're like,
that's what everybody thinks.
Yeah. Go Bear. What is it?
Cal Bears. And Dan, who produces our show, went to Berklee.
Yeah.
What's next for Monogem?
What's next? Well, I've got a few singles I'm about to roll out this spring, summer. And hopefully another EP like at the end of the year. I've got a fun kind of possibly regular show that I'm putting together at this new venue called the Sunrose.
Nice.
And
I'm excited.
Kind of going back to my like jazz roots, which is cool. It's a really beautiful listening room. It's like almost like a supper club. It's beautiful.
So cool.
Like Jeff Goldblum does his like jazz shows there. It's like this beautiful grand piano. It's an awesome space.
Have you been to Vibrato? Do you know Vibrato?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. It's like,
Is it kind of like that or not really?
Ish. It's a little bit like more upscale. It feels like you walk in there and you're like, whoa.
Oh, that's cool.
This is
nice.
like Stevie Wonder got on stage. Like, not like it's like, it's cool. It's really, really cool. So, I'm looking into doing kind of like a jazz, kind of almost like a cabaret situation.
Amazing.
Cool. You have to let us know.
Like a Monogem and Friends kind of situation, just to kind of get on stage regularly and have fun. That's really what I'm looking to do now for the next phase, is just like really like find the fun and like what I love most about music.
Right. And you're comfortable now. You've done a lot of the different things to get you here. And now, like being a mom too, you're like, I want to have fun. Like,
yeah, I just want to have fun.
That's great.
Like, you know, I feel my happiest when I'm like on stage and like getting to make music with friends and like getting to improvise, you know? So a lot of my shows have been so like on the grid and like the electronic thing and the tracks and you know, triggering samples and stuff. I'm just kind of like ready to strip it all away and go back to my musicality, which is like awesome, still there.
Yeah.
It's like an full circle evolution kind of.
And it's kind of, it's a great time to do that. There's a lot of artists that are making waves that are more jazz-based, like LaVey.
I know.
Which is
crazy.
Blowing up.
I know.
And it's great to see because it's very, considering all of the highly slickly produced stuff that's on the radio and then just have somebody kind of break through the noise that can sing like that.
Yeah.
And is giving a very different twist. I'm excited to see you do it because I don't think I've ever seen you do jazz. I want to go on the YouTube path and like see what you got up there.
Yeah, you know, it's a whole lot of different music. I've just got all my influences that have come out of me one way or another. So.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You've always been one of my favorite people. Just anytime I would see you, it was always like, oh, let's go chat about this and that.
Yeah.
And like we definitely, I want it. I've been following your musical career, obviously, just quietly from the sidelines and putting you on every playlist. But everything that you've created and done for yourself in music is beautiful and wonderful. And so you. I mean, you have such a confidence about you. And I'm just excited to see you explore more of it, for sure.
Thank you. That's really sweet. I know. I'm just grateful for the opportunity, you know, to keep going after it.
Yeah. No, it's hard. So I love it.
It's hard, you know, but I'm like, I also have to remember, like, this is my legacy. Like, this is what I leave behind. This is what I leave for my kid. Like, you know, so I just want to be really proud of like whatever I put out there now.
You should be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I got a really great feeling from having you on. Great guest.
Yeah,
you were right.
Thanks.
Just like you got my friend Jen, we gotta have her on.
She's
we gotta have her on, and you were right.
I'm such a fan of hers, and truly, I put magia or magia, as I like to say it, on every playlist.
Oh, I
was making playlists. I'm like, this is a vibe.
Oh, thank you.
Know,
I love that song.
It's such a good song.
I used that. That was like I wrote that about Arlo, like being pregnant. It's like the lyric translates to like it's like magic inside.
Yeah.
So like, it's so cool that song has reached a ton of people. And you know, I made the video to like announce my pregnancy. It was just cool.
Oh,
it's cool to be like,
the videos are very cinematic. I really like them. Yeah.
I've got a song coming out in a few months. It's called Movie. I don't know what it's called yet. It's either it's called Movies or Like the Movies. But like talking about cinematic, I've like been in brainstorming mode all day today. Cool. Like just like thinking about like kind of like a film noir like.
Do you collaborate with certain artists, or like who do you collaborate with on your music videos?
I've got a few people, actually an editor, and she's a director too, but she's based in, I think in London or Paris. She's Canadian, but she lives in Europe.
Yeah.
So that's been a really nice relationship. Her name's Lori. Her name's like abbreviated. It's like Lori TB, but it's like some long French name. I can't say it. But she's been an awesome collaborator on the visual side of things. Wait, what did you ask me?
Just like collaborators. I know you collaborated with Sydney Wazer of Clarinova.
Yeah. I actually just had lunch with her last week.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, we talked about you.
My sister went to high school with Sydney. So,
funny.
So there's like a long connection.
She and I wrote Get You High.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, that song's so great.
Oh, thanks. We always joke. I'm like, of course, Sydney would like help me write my song that allows me to be my truest self because I like smoke weed on stage. It's like a whole shtick. So like, you know, I'm always like lighting that joint on stage. Like the last few times I've performed, it hasn't like worked out well. Like I like played this festival in LA, actually like downtown, a festival called LA 3 Seats, a new festival.
Oh, was that the one with Robert Glasper?
That was this year's, but I played the first year, like the inaugural year. And it was this big production, big stage. It was at LA Historic Park. It was like a proper festival. And like, I'm like trying to light this joint on stage and the wind is blowing.
It's hysterical.
I like couldn't light anyone on fire.
I'm like, I needed a joint lighter for backstage. It's funny. My husband like jinxed me before I got on stage. He said, "You're never going to be able to light this on stage with this wind." He said that to me as I'm walking on stage. So that's why.
Yeah.
And then at the Sunrose, whatever. Maybe
like,
maybe it's a sign. Maybe that's a sign because I'm a mother now. Maybe I don't need to be doing that. But it's just like a song. It's like about getting.
You know what's funny is I'm a daily Howard Stern listener, and Casey Musgraves was just on.
She's a stoner.
And she's a big time stoner.
Yeah.
Wrote half her songs on acid.
Oh, geez.
Oh yeah. But
a lot of my friends are in her band.
Has a lot of these stories. Yeah, she's great.
She talks about like hitting gravity bongs.
Oh yeah. Smoking. She went on tour with Willie Nelson. She has a joint in her house. So Willie Nelson rolled her a joint. They smoked it together. It was so strong, they smoked about half of it. And she's like, nobody touched that. So she framed it. She framed it and it's in her house.
That's amazing.
It's hilarious.
I'd love to kick it with her one day.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got she's got a great band.
Yeah.
She's super talented too. Yeah. Like any collaborations on the horizon?
I just put out a song, or she did a wish list. Oh boy.
Casey Musgraves.
Yeah, right? Casey Musgraves.
Hint.
I've been working with this producer out of Finland. Mm-hmm. His name's Misha. You may not have known him, or have heard of him yet, but he's like big in like the chill hop situation. We just did a song together.
Really into chill hop.
I love all these different genres, and I love that you know them all.
Well, I'm a weirdo. I like subgenres, like funk and
right.
Shit. Yeah.
But I mean, like dream collabs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like really into Nick Hakim. I don't know if you know him.
Roller Skates is one of my favorite songs.
Like Green Twins.
You know everybody.
I'm
That's awesome.
Like I love Nick Hakim. I love like Gabriel Garzon Montano.
Yes,
like
me too.
Like I love all these like Latin guys.
Prince
I wish I had your music knowledge.
I'm nerdy.
It's unbelievable.
This is the lane that I went in.
Sorry.
I'm also like recently obsessed with Victoria Monet.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Okay, so
I was listening to her on the way over here.
I mean, Jesus Christ. I like this is my pride and joy. It has a hole in it. Yeah. So there's an artist that I found last night that I want to share with you called Ethel.
Okay.
And she's out of France. You got to check her out.
Oh,
like
I'm sure.
my new obsession. Like I find an artist and I get really obsessed with them. So it's really weird when you find an artist that you're friends with and you get obsessed.
That's awesome.
Because I totally was obsessed with like her music. I think I listen to Get You High, honestly, like 5 times a day. And I'm that kind of music person. When I like something, I can't listen to it enough. And then I'll you should come up. I mean, I was like, sing it, Jen.
I love that. Oh, I love that. I just like
it is. It's such a vibe. It's
when
such
that
a vibe.
song, especially live, like when we get to that part in the set, probably because I'm getting high. But it's like, I always know, I'm like, okay, I've reached the end. Like it's the second to last song. I know I can handle the last song stoned off my ass. And like, it's just like, I feel like I can really like be myself. And after, it's like all the nerves go away and I just can like settle in and just like let it rip on that song. It's so fun. So man, that song was really a hard one to get finished and wrapped up. I'll never forget just like the process of making it because the production was so different. I worked with a different producer and, it's really distorted and like crunched and guitar heavy and just like, it's a totally different sound than what I had, previously been putting out. So my mixer that I had always worked with and the mastering guy I always worked with, they were like, this is shit. Like they straight up were like, he was like, I can't make this better. It's like your producer.
Right.
But he was like, your producer doesn't know what he's doing. Like it was like that. And I had to really like stick to my guns because like the mixes I was getting back were like, they were just different. It was, it made it just a different song. And I was like, sorry, we're going with his mix.
Yeah.
And is that what was released? Oh, I think it's great.
But that's what we're talking about. You have to do what you love, not what you think other people are going to love. That's what it's really like.
It's true.
And even, going back one more time to the Casey Musgraves thing, she was talking about the albums that she first turned in and the twice she had the same guy at the record company. She wouldn't out who it was. Basically tell her, I don't hear anything good on here. And like 4 of her biggest hits. I'm not a huge fan, so I don't know her songs.
Right.
But basically 3 or 4 of her biggest hits were off that record.
And
it just goes to show you.
It is. It's like now, like, I'm lucky enough to be working in this world and meeting artists and listening to their stuff. And like, it's great when you see an artist going, I don't even know what the hit is because to me, it's this one. And everyone's like, no, it's this one. And I don't know who to listen to. So you just kind of like, you kind of have to stick to your gut. And I really do think, and in my experience, when an artist can actually have a say of what they think is going to be released, it usually is the right thing.
Which
Once in a blue moon, it's not. But
because she just mentioned how, like, when she gets to this certain point in the set and she's the most relaxed, that's when she feels she can be her most authentic self. But I think everything we've talked about is really just how authentic you really are, And that's what I got from you in this.
She's a real one. She is. And she's so talented, but she's a real one. And thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I know it was a schlep in the traffic, so I appreciate it.
I was happy to get out of the house.
She made a day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And just speaking of, like, how is your little one? What's it like being a mom? Are you loving it?
He's awesome. He's like, it's like I've never loved and like hated anything so
Oh yeah,
that's really crazy.
Called being a parent,
right?
And it goes by super fast.
Yeah.
My oldest is coming home from college right after this tonight. So
you look way too young to have a college kid.
My second one's my oldest one is a sophomore in college.
Oh wow.
My middle one is on a college tour with his mom right now, and my youngest one's in high school. So
wow. How old were you? Were you in your 20s?
My oldest was born 2 months before I turned 30.
Okay, so you were young.
Yeah.
In
LA, I'm like, that's young.
Yeah, I mean, I had Arlo at 35.
Yeah,
so
I
was a geriatric pregnant person.
Always fun to hear that when you go to the doctor.
Yeah, but he's awesome, and motherhood's crazy and all the things and beautiful. But he's like, it's like I can't imagine my life without him in it.
A lot of inspiration for writing.
Oh, I mean, my next single is all about him. It's called Lemon Tree, and it's about like being under our lemon tree.
That's awesome.
Together. Yeah. Like I have him now.
Authentic, like I said.
Yeah. Do you sing a lot to him?
All the time.
Yeah.
He goes, Mama's a good singer.
Oh, I love that.
That's awesome.
I used to make up songs for Jake that we still remember. It's the best.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
What?
Maybe there's a kids album of lullabies. Well, just say.
That's funny that you should say that, because I have like 4 albums of lullabies that I've put out under another moniker.
Oh my God, I love it.
Wow.
Which I didn't tell you guys about earlier, but it's called Sueñito. They're all like bilingual lullabies.
Amazing. On Spotify?
Yeah, anywhere. Sueñito, it means little dream.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I've partnered up with some friends who have like a label of, what do you call it? Like an imprint. Yes. And they have an imprint with Platoon. So Platoon is Apple's new distributor.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And they have like a whole Platoon Kids segment situation. So we have some really great support with Apple Music.
I'm gonna date myself, but did you ever hear the Kenny Loggins
no
children's lullaby?
No. Is it amazing?
I should check it out.
Oh, the best.
I love Kenny Loggins.
I mean, you have.
Honestly, that's what I've been doing this
Kenny
whole
Loggins
time.
It's called Return to Pooh Corner.
Okay.
It is the greatest children's lullaby album
I
ever
gotta check it out.
all time.
We'll check it out.
You know what's funny is my friend, listen, I have a lot of friends who have young kids. One of my friends, his kid is particularly well, like, adjusted, developed, smart. He's 2.5, but he's like leaps and bounds. Mm-hmm. And they started with music when he was in the belly. Mm-hmm. I mean, singing to him. And every night after dinner, they have like a little dance party where they play like the Beatles.
Literally, that's Arlo. That sounds just like Arlo, because like we have a playlist that we update regularly for him. And like, he's listening to the coolest shit.
Right. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're big on Brazilian music. And it's like, we play this one song and I go, who is this? Arlie goes, Roger. He like pronounces it perfectly. He's like Stevie Wonder. He like just says it all. I'm like, so cool.
I'm like, who's this? He's like, David Bowie. He knows David Bowie, Prince, and Freddie Mercury, because those are like my favorite all time. Yeah. But that's so funny. And I love that. And I do think
it's the coolest part.
It's the coolest part. And kids really do. I mean, music is such a huge part of being human. Mm-hmm. And watching them be moved by music, especially if you're a musician or you have a real love for it, it's like the best thing.
It's
and
really cool.
Like, it is. It's so cool.
I get to play them all, like all the covers I turned in for you.
Oh
like,
my God.
He like wants to, he'll literally say, I want to hear the regular one. Like, because now I did like a bunch of versions. Yeah. I did English, Spanish, Spanglish, right?
So cool.
And like, he's like, I want to hear the regular one. Yeah. Like, he knows like which one.
Yeah. I love that. You seem like you're in such a great place in your life.
Oh,
you really do. And I know how weird being a musician can be. And the fact that you're still like making music and you're making music for you. Like, have you ever had any experiences with like other musicians where you're either on the same bill or?
Yeah, no, definitely not on the same bill. I was very young. I was turning 21, and my good friend Taylor, she's a close family friend of Dave Grohl. And so he was kind of just like always around when we were partying home from college and things like that. So I was trying to remember the name of this old venue in the Valley. I don't know. The Foo Fighters played a secret show there in the Valley, and it was my 21st birthday. And Taylor invited me. She was like, "Do you want to go out and just like go see the Secret Foods show?" And I was like, "Sure, yes, that's exactly what I would like to do for my 21st birthday." And like, he was the coolest guy. Just like, I mean, I've seen him a million times since then, but that was the first time I met him.
Yeah.
And he got me so wasted.
I love it. I love it.
But in the most wholesome way, you know, nothing creepy.
No, I got it. I got it. I totally get it.
But like, I got so wasted. I mean, like you do on your 21st birthday. And I like got my car towed on Ventura Boulevard. Like I like had to leave my car and go sleep at my friend's house.
So
and I'm like, well, Dave Grohl, you know.
That's amazing. 21st birthday. Did he hold your hair when you threw up? I'm just kidding.
No, I did not vomit at the club, only at my friend's house at like 5 a.m. So I held it together.
I love it.
But like my only other story is that like I was trying to get in by buying beer when I was like 17, 18 years old, and my fake ID didn't work, and I was like so upset. I was in Malibu at one of those liquor stores on PCH, and like Tommy Lee rolls up and sees me like struggling with my friends, like, what do we do? What do we, you know? And he's like, he literally took my beer order and bought me.
That's
oh my God.
You know what's so fun
you
about
dazed and confused Tommy Lee. That's fucking awesome. I love it.
You know what's so fun about these stories too is that's like more even just 90who10 growing up in LA.
Totally.
Has nothing to do with the fact that you know it just LA. Like you live here, you could totally run into Tommy Lee
and have him buy you beer underage.
Yeah. And I didn't even ask him. He like offered.
Of course he did. He's like, hey ladies, what do you guys?
Yes.
I love it.
I love it.
Oh my God, that's great. All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I thank you for telling us those funny stories. Those are good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm so happy we had our lovely guest, Monogem, aka Jen Hirsh. Check her out on all the DSPs. Trust me, trust me, trust me. I have good musical taste. And she's an amazing person.
Yes.
And please like, subscribe,
and
tell your
follow.
friends, follow,
Yes.
send us an email. info@90who10.com.
That's right.
We love to hear from you. We're loving all the comments that we see on our page and on the YouTube page. So thank you guys for being a part of this show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.